Hey everybody, it's Edward Ward, your friendly and knowledgeable neighborhood realtor and the leader of the Ward team. Just like you, I'm spending a lot more time at home. Uh, Two reasons, obviously with what we do, business has been a little bit slower. And secondly, we have three elderly people in our household that the last thing we want to do is get them sick and them having to worry about being sick and fighting for their lives. So, trying to figure out things to do. One of the things that I've come up with is I thought we would do a virtual visit with some of the businesses here in town. So I've reached out to a few people and they have been nice enough to allow me to interview them to give you an idea of who they are, what they're about, and their business and what they offer and what they bring to Georgina. So I hope you find it interesting. We're going to interview as many people as we can. So if you know anybody that has a business here in town and you think that they may be interested in this, just tag them somewhere below in the comments somewhere, and I'll reach out to them and see if this is something that they like to do. So stay safe, stay healthy, sit back and enjoy. Take care, everybody. All right, we are live, sir. So I just want to welcome everybody in. We're going to talk to Mr. Jim Anderson. He is your proper title, Jim?
Station manager, Rogers
Station
TV.
Manager. We have a station?
It's true.
Rogers TV here in Georgina?
True. Yes.
And where would you be situated?
We are situated at the Ice Palace in Keswick. I'm sure most of Georgina at some point or another drives by us every day and they wonder what's in there. And they think every day somebody walks in and says, could I get some service for my cable box or my cell phone? And wrong store.
I was just going to say, so that's not where I drop my cable box off to?
That is not. I can redirect you to the store on Arlington, which I always say is right across from the liquor store. But yeah, we are often mistaken for that store. But no, we are a working studio and have been since 2013.
So for those of us that don't know the lingo and the legalities behind that, how is it and why is it that we have a Rogers TV studio station here in Little Georgina?
Right. There was an existing license for those who have been around a long time. Back before the year 2000, there was an existing license for a cable station up here. When Rogers took over Trillium Cable back then, this area was serviced by Rogers TV in Richmond Hill and Newmarket, so Rogers TV York Region. And then back in 2012, boy, 8 years ago, I've been here a while. Back in 2012, they because there was a separate license for just this area, it was decided that they needed to put a studio in the community to do just community stories. So luckily at that time, I was a 26-year employee of the company and had also lived up here in Keswick since, I guess, 1994. So I already knew the area very well. We were already doing some things up here like the Santa Claus parades and Georgina Cares auction. But I was given the task to take over this brand new station, be its at the time supervising producer. I was given a camera and a car, no studio yet. By the way, you launch in 6 weeks. So I launched with 4 shows. Thank God my wife Jennifer was in the business and as a journalist and was able to launch a show. My good friend Kathy Bruce started a gardening show, which was very interesting to start in February. But we figured it out, and yeah, 8 years later, we are a small staff. I have one full-time producer, Jeremiah Breton, a part-time producer, Johnny Russell, and we are about 44, 45 volunteers strong, and that goes from everybody from volunteer hosts and community producers to technical staff, whether it's co-op students from the local high schools, interns from colleges, or like your wife who helps us, community member who just donates some time and helps us out on shows like Georgina Live. So there's a whole mix of people.
So you have 2 full-time people at the Rogers station and one part-time paid employees, and
including
that's
me.
it.
That's
That's
it.
and everything else is because of volunteers helping. Part of that too, I think you said, is students are an integral part of keeping things going for co-op or people that might be interested in getting in the field so they can learn some stuff and see things behind the scene. I know that's a
Yeah,
pretty
we are a great way for if you're a grade 11, 12 student who's thinking about broadcasting as a career. This is the place to find out whether this is truly for you, because I think people get thrown into live television production, and some people thrive on it, and other people it scares them. So I'd rather you come here and do a 4-month placement with us, and then come out thinking this is exactly what I want to do, and then have your parents spend that money at community college or university, rather than spend that money after, and then after 2 months go, I hate this, I want to do something else. So we really are a training ground for kids, whether you're in co-op or just coming after school on a Thursday night to help with Politically Speaking. It's a great opportunity. Some do it just because it's fun. Others are doing it because they just want to see if it could be a career. Others have finished co-op, have gone to community college, and now are interning with us because they're looking for that first job. So we're giving them that experience. The good thing about people in the industry is they know if you've got a background in Rogers TV, you're not getting my coffee. You're not sweeping the floor, although I also get people coffee and sweep the floor. But you're actually you're doing camera work, you're hosting a show, you're on audio, you're doing graphics. You are the crew in most cases, and you know this when you come on Georgina Live. Other than Jeremiah, who's directing the show, everyone else is a volunteer.
right.
So we're actually giving you real work experience. And I know I get criticized because people think, what, you're Rogers, why aren't you paying all these people? Well, Rogers TV has a very small budget. We are a small piece of the Rogers pie.
Right.
So community TV is our budget's not very big. We do have excellent equipment here, so I can't complain about that. But our budget past that is really mostly just the 3 staff. I'm also blessed to look after other studios. I look after a studio in Oshawa, so that's all of Durham region, from Pickering to Clarington and up Scugog, Uxbridge. So I have 5 full-time staff there and 3 part-time. There's also a small studio in Utica, in the Uxbridge area, that services that area. And then I've got one guy who works in Orangeville by himself. So a lot of area to cover, but the mandate is local. Cover your local stories that probably wouldn't be covered by anybody else. I mean, God bless our partners at the City TV News, but unless there's a major fire or something big happens up here, they're not going to do Georgina Minor Hockey House League Championships. They're not going to do Georgina Cares Auction.
Yeah.
They just have too big a coverage area to do those types of stories. We can do those, and we can do more than just a 20-second news story on that 6 o'clock news. We're going to do Georgina Cares Auction, and we're going to go live for almost 7 hours.
So with that being said, with what's happening in our world today, globally, with the coronavirus, how has that affected you and the studio, and what is happening or not happening at this time then?
Well, it's obviously, as things have changed throughout the last few weeks, and this is this is April 7th right now. It's changes almost every other day. So we started with kind of only those who had to be in were in. We're at a point now where all volunteers are no longer allowed to be in the studio. So if you're hosting a show, thank God for Zoom. I just finished doing audio for one of our producers to do a couple of shows. Hosts were both by Zoom, guests were by Zoom. This morning we recorded the parenting show, a special show for parents going through what they're going through right now with being at home, kids scared. That was all done by Zoom. Jennifer at her house and Allison at her house. So we are limited on what we can do. tough.
That's what I was just going to ask you next. Like with these changes and with the way that people are having to do business, because there's really nobody that really hasn't been affected by this one way or another. Do you see anything that has come out of this so far that you wouldn't have thought of before that you may continue on with once we get through the self-isolating?
I think, and not so much here because there's only three of us here at the Keswick studio. Some of my other teams in other studios who have more manpower, it's been kind of wrestled before about working from home. Do I have to be in the studio if there's no production? Right now, especially at the Durham studio, I mean, as much as I have more people there, if there's no production, you're staying at home. And if there is production, we're only bringing in a director and an audio person. Not even the host comes in. So it has enabled us to adapt. We still have to, our mandate is still to create local information. And right now it's all about, obviously, COVID-19. So safety material. If you look at our Facebook page in Georgina, we are updating all the time, sharing things from the town. We were doing mayor's messages off the top until I couldn't have the mayor in the studio anymore. So now they are creating those themselves, so we can share it on our social media because we have a good reach. We're sharing information from city, from the region of York, and a lot of it is good news stories. That pop-up breakfast group that has come around the last couple of weeks. Amazing things that they're doing. And when they first had the idea, I kind of got wind of it quickly and found out that, let's see what we can do for them. So we put it out on our social media, and we were able to get hopefully some more eyes on it and to get some more attention. And that's kind of what we do. It's not all about the station or the channel. It's just getting information out any way we can.
Okay, so I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times about local content. Obviously, you live in Georgina. The station is in Georgina. What do you feel is the biggest advantage of having Rogers TV station and that license here in Georgina?
Well, if you would ask anybody else living in York region who lost their local Channel 10 in the last 2 years, it may be one of those things you don't think that you miss until it comes to an election time and you see that Rogers was doing all those local debates or election coverage or your Santa Claus parade or hockey, kids hockey. That's all stuff we're still doing on our channel that all of York region other than Georgina has lost. And it was unfortunate a couple of years ago when there was a cut in our funding that the major market studios had to be closed because they weren't making as much of an impact as they do in a small community like Georgina. So that was unfortunate. That's really that's why we are different than anybody else, because we are doing stories that it's not smaller stories. It's not stories that nobody cares about, but it's stories hopefully that are celebrating Georgina residents, celebrating local business, celebrating local kids and sports, and raising money for Georgina Cares. Anything that you can do in a community that makes a difference. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that they do at City or Sportsnet or anything else, but I think we do a pretty good job with what we have.
Well, I mean, I know myself that I've watched the station for quite a few years and the different types of shows that are on there. For me, I work at a different time than most people do. So when people are out and about and available, that's when I'm working, and vice versa. So I've used that station for myself as a way to stay in touch with what's going on in the community and to be updated on what's happening in around the area and learn about different people, functions, events, businesses that are in there. So I guess my next question would be then what are you hoping to accomplish with the station in being able to bring the local content to Georgina and the viewers?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is whether you are born and raised. Just because you're born and raised in this community doesn't mean that you know everything about what's going on in your community. Some people are more involved than others. Or you're somebody who's like me, moved here 25 years ago, or you're somebody who just moved in last year. There's parts of this community that people don't know about. I mean, I'm the first one to admit I'm a Keswick resident. I don't often get through Pefferlaw. So hopefully a station like us can tell those stories or bring those stories to light, or make you want to get in the car and drive to Pefferlaw and see what's there. Um, and that goes for the small, Virginia and all those small little hamlets of this town. It's such a big area.
Hmm.
Um, I always tell the story. My boss in Richmond Hill at the time, when I first got the station, would say, there's a small little studio somewhere on the border between Brock and Georgina. Can you just stop there on your way home and check it out? And she didn't understand when I said, well, it's actually like 25 minutes from my house. And she didn't understand that from my house in Keswick to get to this little studio, it's not around the corner and it's not on my way home. So yes, I can stop by and take a look for you, but it's not on my way. So it's a tough area. A lot of the area too is not serviced by cable just because of how rural it is.
Right.
So we were blessed probably a year and a half ago to be able to take our feed on Channel 10 and allow it to be on live streamed. So now, as long as you have internet, you can go to rogerstv.com, you click on Georgina under the stations tab in the top right corner, and whatever's on the channel at that time, you can see it live streamed. So it really has opened us up to non-Rogers customers. Of course, we want you to be a Rogers customer, but it really has opened us up to those who just can't get cable down their rural road, to see some of the things that we're doing, especially when it comes to something like the auction, when we want to reach as many people as possible and we want to raise as much as we can, but not everyone can see us. Well, that door has been opened up for more people.
Right. So let's just say that someone isn't a Rogers subscriber and they go online and the show that they wanted to see isn't being live streamed right then. Is there a way for them to see a show that had been previously aired or on?
Yeah, we have the advantage that because there's only 3 of us, we have, I think, the last check we're up to 14 regular shows, either weekly or bi-weekly. Those shows repeat for a week or for 2 weeks. So a show that you may have missed tonight at 8 o'clock will likely be on tomorrow at 4 or the next day at 9 in the morning. So we really have made it convenient for those to check us out when it's convenient for them. And a lot of especially right now, everything we're producing about COVID-19, it's all going onto our YouTube channel. So if you go in there and you search rogerstv.com or you go on to YouTube and look up Rogers TV, you'll see our YouTube channel and you'll see all the stuff. Actually, the coolest thing right now is if you have a Rogers digital box, Ignite TV, if you say Ignite, into your handset, if you say COVID-19 into that, it will take you to all COVID-19 related programming. And if you scroll down, you're going to see a tab for Rogers TV. Go across and you'll see all the stuff we've created over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Really?
Now, it's everybody in Rogers TV from Ontario, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland, but
Right.
All of our shows are on there too. So it really has allowed us to reach more people in a different way.
All right. I mean, that's great. There's a lot of information. One of the last things I was going to ask you, and you've kind of answered this already through the different answers that you've given, but, what is it that people should be looking for? Why should they tune in to watch Rogers TV Channel 10? I mean, obviously it's the local content, but,
Right.
Why do you think they should just tune in and watch?
I think the biggest thing is for me that it's local. It's about your community. We're not doing Newmarket stories. We're not doing Toronto stories. There has to be a local tie. So either you're from here, your business is here, you're coming to town to do a show. There's got to be a local tie or we don't touch it. So we're showing you your local town council. We're showing you, and I know that's not for everybody, but there's lots of people. I mean, people say to me, nobody watches that. I'm like, actually they do, because when it's not on, I get the emails, what happened? But it's your local gardening person, it's your local cooks, somebody like Corey Dern, local catering company. And she just was a guest on Georgina Life probably 5-6 years ago. And I thought, can you take what you've just done and make it into a half-an-hour show? And she's got over 100 episodes already. Same as Kathy Bruce with Georgina Blooms. So we are, we are the station that's going to do that Georgina Hockey Championships. You got kids playing house league, and that's one of the unfortunate casualties of what's happened, or what we're going through right now. Was, March 22nd, we were doing 6 hours live of kids hockey, every kid from this community, and we had to cancel it, and they had to cancel the tournament, which canceled our broadcast. So that's awful. For one day, those kids are like the Leafs. They're on TV with the spotlight, and they got commentary happening from our guys. We're shooting it with 6 cameras, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal to kids. It's a big deal to parents and grandparents. So I guess what I would say is the station brings awareness for all corners of our community. It's highlighting stories that the bigger broadcasters wouldn't touch. And it really does. It celebrates our local businesses, our people. We're not a news station. Back in the day, I worked on TV news for Rogers TV for a long time, and sometimes a lot of it was negative, or a lot of it was the bad things that are happening in our community. It's not what we do. We don't do TV news here at Rogers TV, Georgina. In most cases, we're just celebrating the really good things that are happening in this community.
Well, we're all living a different reality right now. I've got to know you over the last few years, professionally and personally, and I know you have a huge passion for what you do and for this community. So I would like to thank you for everything that you do. I enjoy a lot of the programs that are on there. I watch it. I got my wife actually watching it, and as you mentioned a little bit earlier, through that, now she volunteers at the studio because she really enjoyed a lot of the programming, working behind the scenes, seeing what goes on, how a show comes together. So I would just like to say thank you to you and Johnny and Jeremiah for everything that you do. You do a fabulous job for the community, bringing those types of things to everybody. If anybody has any questions at all about what you're about, I would just suggest that, turn on the Rogers TV, go to channel 10, take a look at some of the different programs that are available. If you're not a subscriber to Rogers, check it out on rogers.com. Do look at some of the live streaming, go to the YouTube channel, see what's available, and maybe you'll like it enough that you'll become a part of the Rogers family, like I have been now. And we're very truly thankful for what it is that you bring to the community.
Well, I appreciate that. We love your support, both you and Melanie. You've always been a supporter of me. You've always been a supporter of the channel, and my staff and volunteers. So we appreciate that. And we are really doing our best to create, especially right now in this uncertain time, we are really trying to serve our community the best we can. And that's through talking to our local MP and MPP and mayor. We're creating content almost every other day that's local related. And I know people are getting tired of watching this stuff. I know even myself, you got to turn, I can no longer watch the prime minister every single day and then flick over to watch Anderson Cooper. I can't do it anymore. But our role really is to keep, if there's something local happening, we want to let you know. We want to let you know when the mayor wants to reach out, and if there's people playing on the playground. You can't do that anymore.
But unfortunately, that's the reality we're living in right now. And unfortunately, that is what is the forefront for most people. And as much as it may seem that it's the same message or same thing going on, there's always a little bit of a different twist to it, because this is changing daily. The amount of people it's affecting, how it's affecting. I know we've been watching numbers, so we're grateful. Like I said, we want to know what's going on locally. We want to know what's happening here, because this is where we live, and this is going to affect the people that we love the most, right?
Well, and I want people to know we're doing it safely. I'm not sending my crews out to press conferences as much as I would love to do that. I'm not willing to do that, and the company's not willing to do that. So we are, today I did audio and I wore my mask because I was 6 feet sitting behind my director. So we are doing it as thin as we can with staff. Like we said, no volunteers are allowed in the studio, hosts or otherwise. But we just, we've been deemed an essential service, and we are happy to serve our customers and get those messages out, because people want the right information. So that's our goal.
I want to thank you again for everything that you've done and for taking the time to do this with me and for the people that are going to view this. Stay safe, stay healthy, and look after that amazing family of yours.
We'll do. You too.
Alrighty, sir.
Thank
You
you.
take care.
You take care too.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.